And in the top right here, in the red, the Zerg player. He is Silky. Currently teamless, but hopefully not for long. Nothing's going to turn heads more than getting into the playoffs of the Chinese main event. Ooh, gas pool first here.
Oh, okay. Well, so far, pretty on brand for him, I guess. I wonder if he knows that everybody's trying to block these hatcheries. So it's like, you know what? If I like aggression, maybe I should just go gas pool first. And then it puts the fear of Ling back on my opponent. And it looks like he might just try and duck down here real quick and take that natural while the probe was investigating matters in the main there. And he will be able to pop that down. So, yeah. Looks like everything going according to plan for Silky so far.
Indeed. This also means that the start for Firefly may be a little bit more conservative. As I say, I kind of expected him to maybe go Cybercore before Nexus here, just for safety. But he is feeling confident. I guess Ice and Chrome is a very large map, so still going to go Nexus before Cyber. No slow down.
Just got to keep an eye on what might be coming out on the map there, and maybe, you know, don't send all your stuff out across the map once. Keep something home, like an adept in that wall, just to poke down any lings in case Silky does something cheeky, like roll around one of the other paths on the map and tries to send the lings in surprise or something. However, yeah, he's gone straight into that speed and remaining on the gas for the moment as well, continuing with the bank on that front.
Still a pretty regular build from Silky so far, getting his third a little bit earlier than he normally would. Stargate as well for Firefly. It is the most standard of standard openings for both players, with the gas and pull at the start, just for faster speed. But we're not seeing a signs of a Ling flood coming out of Silky just yet. He doesn't have a ton of supply cap to work with at the moment. He actually is going to start making some Lings right now. There it is. All right.
I was kind of wondering if he'd try and bust through or something, because he stayed on gas for so long. Now he's landed on a flat 100 and pulled off entirely for that mineral income. So it's going to be cool to see how this goes. Obviously, Firefly's going to be kind of on high alert already. And with this adept, he's going to see these lings.
Ooh. Yeah, too late in that recall. The adept's going to die too fast. The lings anyway. Probably would have died during the recall.
He's already in here.
Yeah, he's already in. He's going to have to go for the full wall off there with the pylon. The adept is on ling chasing duties. And where there is a cluster of lings, there's always another one right behind it.
Yep, shield battery coming down there too. The Oracle is about halfway done, so it'll be out here in a second and able to help out with these adepts. So we should be able to fend off these initial lings coming in here and buy enough time for that Stargate unit to come out. These two remaining lings, though, are being huge pains in the backside there for Firefly.
Yeah, and the lings have been deflected, so cool idea from Silky to try and put the fear of God into him, or the fear of Zerg into him at the start here. He's switching gears, though. Seeing a lair on the way, still not mining any gas. It's Silky has mined all of his gas he's pulled out. He's just mining minerals at the moment. So what is the plan with this lair? You gotta, I mean, everything that's lair related, you need to mine gas to use, like Dropper Lords or, another tech path. They all cost gas. So.
I too was thinking about Dropper Lords as a possible option. I have seen Silky stick to like a Ling Bane style before. However, just as I say that, he does drop the Roach Warren, so going to be a little bit more normal from here. An interesting thing about the Chinese Zergs, from what I've seen, is that they haven't abandoned the Hydra yet. A lot of regions are kind of like, we don't love the Hydra too much anymore.
Yeah, they're all about the Ravager Ling Bane in the other regions.
Yeah, I have seen some Hydra appearances in the qualifiers, for example, but not in the group stages that we've cast so far. So we'll keep an eye on what the tech choice is going to be for Silky. But first, he has to deal with this initial harassment.
This harass is looking a little bit more like an attack now. We got 3 oracles worth of firepower here, which is very good against the lings. They get decimated there by those oracles, and excused back by the queens. The oracles really don't want to go toe-to-toe with those queens. They're quite deadly. Big round of lings coming out here for Silky now, of course, because Silky's using a lot of his lava and minerals on units. He's not using them on workers, so his worker count is not great. Firefly doesn't have a third nexus, but he still has a pretty good saturation on those 2 bases here. See that third's looking a little light here for the Zergs mining.
I think Firefly will probably be thinking about that third base in a little bit. He's getting that forge that usually points towards a bit of a longer term view of this game. So there we go. That pops down. And alrighty, Silky changing up the tech.
Yeah, these cheesy Zergs, Zeph. Is it ever not Spire? Is it ever not Spire when you're a bit more of a cheesy Zerg? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, sometimes it's Roach Ravager.
Sometimes. But it feels like if the Roach Ravager like part of the game fails or the window closes, it's always Spire next, right?
Yeah.
It used to always be Nidus Worm. Mutas are friends. Not to me, but definitely friends to other people. But yeah, it used to be like the Nidus Worm would be the thing, but now it's about the Spire.
Yeah, I would love to see those oracles go for a little bit of a dip into that natural base and get the scout on that Spire, because half the battle with mutas is being prepared for them. Actually, very nice cancel there on that base. These 3 oracles are absolute terrors, and there we go.
Spire.
You should have seen it just then.
Yeah, sees the Spire just now. Starts Blink here, does Firefly. They started 1 Phoenix, and cancels Blink, starts Charge. Rethinking things. He's like, do I want to worry about the Mudmuts? Wait, forget Blink. Let's just get Charged. Let's get the Archons up. Keep making Immortals, but we're going to start Phoenixes instead. Is the plan here to deal with the mutas.
He definitely needs those chargeless, I think, because having scouted that, I think he's noticed that Silky has stopped droning a little bit, and he's going for a lot of roaches. He already had a bunch of lings out on the map too, and this is actually maybe not ideal, the fact that he's moving out right now. I don't know if Silky will pull back for this, because he's already making ravages on the front lines here. Yeah, he should be able to get the cancel on that base again.
Should do. He's attacking on in. Now the mutas are out of position, but they're flying back home with post haste.
Oh no.
Phoenix is joining in with the oracles. It is indeed a lot of Zerg here. He's taking an alright trade against the ground army.
Yep, he should be able to get the cancel here. He's focusing that for a moment. Oh, he actually gets to keep that base. That's pretty good for Silky. And he forces the recall there. So, yeah, I wasn't sure if I liked that from Firefly, because it was a small force and he was kind of surrounded by Zerg there for a second. But, I mean, if the mutas aren't coming in while you're doing that and you're able to get a bit closer to the tech that you're looking for, then I guess it works out there. And Silky is continuing to make like 5 overlords at a time. He's kind of in unit production mode at the moment.
Yeah, but also supply block mode.
Yeah,
it gets blocked every now and then. So a couple macro snafus, but still has a pretty healthy supply of army. He is still ahead of the Protoss by 50 at the moment. A lot of it is army. Yeah, is he attacking his own hatchery? Yes, he is.
Cool.
Bad queen, that's yours. Stop that.
And good positioning on the queens here to try and ward away those oracles. The mutas are actually going to give chase there, and he could potentially finish those off, actually. 10 more roaches in production, along with some of the hydras, going for the range upgrade on those as well. And yeah, more overlord kills happening there from those phoenixes. Silky is supply blocked once again, so he's probably due for another round of 5 overlords, and he's even getting some drone kills. Very nicely done by Firefly.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, still it's safe to say that Silky's attack needs to be pretty effective here. There aren't any storm, or actually there's some storms. So the energy there on this High Templar on the south side. I was paying too close attention to the ones in the north, and that's some tasty bad weather right there for Silky's army. He had to eat quite a bit of it. Sat in those storms quite a while. Now the Ravagers and the Roaches obviously can deal with a bit of bad weather, and those hurt Roaches when they pop out are going to be full hit point Ravagers, but did eat some serious splash damage. It's a lot of firepower from the Zerg. I think the Phoenixes are actually going to be really useful in this battle. He can lift up a lot of these Ravagers.
Couple of initial force fields go down there. They do get popped by the Ravager Biles, and Firefly here relying pretty heavily on the proximity to some of those shield batteries there. There should be more storms ready. There goes one on the front lines, making it difficult for Silky to plunge in here. Another good storm there, forcing him to split his army into 2.
And shield battery overcharge kicking in. Is juicing up a High Templar there for a second, but look how quickly the hit points come back on those Immortals. He is getting a little bit of static defense of the Protoss down, and the Phoenix count not as high as I assume, because there are some Oracles here as well. Is respecting these Hydras quite a bit, just relying on Storms to get the job done. A couple Archons exposed here, so looks like one of them might go down. Oh, he moves in to intercept to keep that Archon alive. The Archon turns and fires back here. Oh man, Silky's army now toe-to-toe with a bunch of tier 3 Protoss Templar units as well as robotics units. Those Immortals still hammering from that backline with their +2 attack. Keep in mind that while there are a bunch of upgrades out for Silky, as far as upgrades for his units goes, only got +1 ranged on those Roaches, Ravages, and Hydras. The Protoss army is heading towards +3 attack right now. The longer this game goes, the worse it is for Silky.
And he's going to try and come in here and get some more damage done with the air units. Nice defense there from Silky. Will be able to zone that out for the moment. However, he finds himself more overlords to take out. Super annoying for Silky. He is maxed in terms of his supply cap, but lose enough overlords and you'll find yourself having to remake those again, which is very, very frustrating.
Yeah,
and moving in here with the Oracles zaps a couple of drones.
7 overlords and 2 overseers have died in this game, so quite a bit of overlord death. More than you would expect. Charge lots arriving at this base, and Silky's army out of position. He was actually going for an attack to the third base and has to pull all the way home with everything here. It's unfortunate.
Yep. Not really doing any drone damage here. Happy to deal with those lings for the moment. So yeah, okay, good cleanup there for Silky. I like that he's going into the Lurker Den and getting Hive here as well. That's where things start to get a little bit spicier in terms of the engagements for our Protoss player here, having to kind of maneuver around those Lurker shots that come out. And yeah, I do like Firefly's mobility here though, continuing to run around and try and find ways to do damage. However, it looks like, yeah, actually maybe not going to push up in there.
Yeah, the charge lots on the south side have a cluster of Roach and Hydra to avoid here. The air army just keeps those tags on the bigger half of the Zerg army. Or it's not really a bigger half, is it? It's not half anymore. Hive is about to finish here for Silky, and it's the first time I've actually seen Hive from Silky. And it looks like the plan is to go into really, like, those tier 3 upgraded Lurkers. That I really like. I think it's one of the greatest things that Zerg have in their arsenal since the patch that gave those upgrades to the Lurkers. Like, they are just so powerful. Upgrades still favoring the Protoss, though. We do have a fleet beacon on the way, so tier 3, every single path of tier 3 is coming available there for Firefly, apart from tier 3 robotics tech. He has no robotics bay.
This is gearing up to be one of the longer games that we've seen so far over the last couple of nights. Very nice attack here. He's actually going to spot the Lurkers, which is important. He's also going to have a go at this base, see if he can get rid of it. Nice storm there, and the unit's trying to come down the ramp to defend. And it looks like he's also going to clean up this one.
Well, he's High Templar he's got. Tons of High Templar on the north side there. On the south, he does get cleaned up. It drops a storm before that is the case, and he cleans up tons of Zerg units in the north of the map. And that leaves Silky with, having to replenish that army supply, and he is going to do it with style here. 10 Lurkers being morphed out of those Hydras from that earlier battle on the hatchery, which did survive, by the way. We do have the Lurker range upgrade being his first upgrade in tier 3, which is the most important upgrade.
Yeah, he's got to be a little careful about how he engages here. Nice. That Oracle is so useful for the vision at the moment. One storm actually takes out a Lurker there. And wow, that's like infinity Lurkers. I'm not sure how that's going to go. And the Vipers are in play too, so free up mortal kill for Silky. Very nicely done.
Yeah, we are going into the proper late game here. Tags are going to be very important. There's actually not a ton of mobile detection here apart from the Oracles for Firefly. A big charge lot warp in the main base. Huge charge lot warp in. There's a +3 attack. Charge lot's getting it done over there. Oh, using this opportunity to leave those, to try and break that Lurker line, but the Lurker spines and the Lurker count, it looks like they'll be a little bit too high.
Yeah, I love the Zealot run by Zerg. He might just do. I don't think he can save that with 3 Hydras there. And it looks like that's getting very, very low. Will he be able to finish it? Looks like he does take it out at the last second there. And more storms going down on these Lurkers, and I think Firefly's doing a great job here going around the Lurkers and only engaging them when there's no friends to support them. He has cleaned up a little bit of that, but he has lost a lot of his own forces as well, now forced to pull back a bit and defend against this small cluster of units.
That's a good recall there from Firefly. Losing that Nexus would have been, he would have lost the lead, put it that way. He was in a very, very good spot, and all he needs to do is get further ahead, and I think he's making the right call here, just taking it easy, start up a mothership, maybe get around into Zealots. Zealots are expendable, but don't lose the Immortals, don't lose the Archons, don't lose that heavy-hitting tier 3 army.
Yeah, this is the rough thing about going lurkers, is that you kind of need a good setup, and you can be circumvented like this. Again, this army comes down to this very weak hatchery, and despite the huge amount of static defense there, Firefly is going to be able to take that out, and some of the spines on the way, maybe even a couple of drones there on their way out. And he's still harassing in the main with that Warp Prism. May go to a different base now. Lurkers coming forward and trying to flush him out of here. 10 drones going down. Maynard, this is getting pretty heated. Firefly is doing a great job.
Yeah, I mean, Silky has got a huge army supply here, but his macro machine is running on fumes, man. It just doesn't have a whole lot of money at the moment. He's a pretty broke Zerg. That army supply is going to try and make some magic happen here. That is a deep burrow right there on that Nexus. It's going to be hard to make sure that that one survives. It's also the Nexus that's creating the Mothership on it, so Mothership's been cancelled.
Oh my goodness, there's carriers in production and everything. Beautiful storm there on the right-hand side for Firefly. Second one goes down to help finish off those units. The second lair is actually in peril there as well, but at the same time, these lurkers are making some great trades. Good feedback on that Viper there. And those lurkers continue to move forward. Huge blows on both sides. 25 probes having gone down so far. Zealot run-bys are continuing. The lair goes down as well.
As is the Natural Nexus next on the menu here for those lurkers of Silky. They are doing insane DPS here. And this is basically a base race, Zeph. And I think if this is going to be a base race, I mean, the lurkers are fantastic for base races if you have any at home. Does Silky have any at that last hatchery at the third base? Like the fourth, rather, next to the Natural. If he has some lurkers there, maybe he can hold. Doesn't look like it. It looks like mainly Roaches and Hydras.
He could morph a couple real quick. He's got a couple of Hydras there in the main base of Firefly. His structures are starting to get taken out, and a few pros went down there as well. Did he save that one carrier? I think he did. Every unit counts in this scenario as well, but unfortunately the lurkers, as much destruction as they're putting onto the Protoss structures here, they're a bit slower than the Protoss army.
You know what? I think that Firefly might have forgotten about this carrier, because this carrier actually beats this army. There's not that many Hydras here.
Yeah, if he focuses those down. I mean, he should
actually save move. I think there's only 2 Hydras.
Oh, huge storms there. Oh, and another one.
Lurkers. No lurkers means that this base is going to go down. That's where they started the spawning pool as well. No spawning pool means no spine crawlers, no spore crawlers, no queen production. Oh, the stasis ward! Are you kidding me? What a clutch stasis ward there from Firefly, catching all the lurkers bar 1 or 2, securing his exit with a few of those important units.
Yeah, the army supply for Firefly not looking so hot here. He's having a bit of trouble engaging.
Get out, boys.
These zealots, yeah, they gotta run. There's still 2 more hatcheries available. Looks like Firefly has found the one towards the south there.
Yeah, he's on that hatchery with some zealots at the moment already. The 12 o'clock one, I don't think he's seen yet.
No. This is getting a little bit spooky, actually. Silky continuing to charge forward. Now, there's a lot of detection. There's shield batteries here as well. This base and the one above it are really key for Firefly, because they're allowing him not only mining, but a place to actually fall back to, whereas Silky doesn't really have anything like that. He's got one mining base, but his tech structures and everything have gone down. Nice storm there. Starting to siege here a little bit.
Firefly was also, unfortunately, hold positioning right in range of those lurkers. Those lurkers with their range are so sick. Kills a High Templar there. Oh, man. He storms. Still zoning him back. He's got nothing to stop that hatchery from going down to a single zealot. Lurker's coming in from the north side. He is making a lurker sandwich here. Firefly is the meat in between these slices of bread.
Does he have any storms left?
There's one. Maybe 2 in a second.
Yeah, he's a little stuck here, actually.
Oh, no,
Loses Templar again.
There's still that one carrier. Get in there, carrier. It's your time. Your time is now, carrier. Your time is now.
He actually gonna lose this? Oh, DTs though.
Yep.
There's one overseer here though, so they really need to do some work. If you can make an observer, then.
I mean, he's just started the Cybercore. Cybercore is on the way. Firefly absolutely has the money to get a Robo and an Observer, but he actually needs to have the Cybercore finish and then get the Robo after that. So it's going to take him a minute. But I think this carrier is actually something that Silky can't stop.
Gosh.
And the DTs as well. Yeah.
Game is ridiculous. I can't believe this is what it's become. The DT comes in here. Lurker's unfortunately not able to spot it just yet, but with the static defense coming up, that's going to shut down the harassment of the DTs on that base. And this carrier is just hanging out, having a good time. Again, the carrier won't be able to attack into that base, but the point here for Firefly is just the ability to make stuff that will eventually allow him to engage there. So I still feel pretty decent about his position because he's been mining stuff for longer. He's got another base. He's rebuilding some of that tech. But Silky's held on very well.
He has, but it's like holding on to what end? I think he's kind of in full freestyle right now. It doesn't seem like he has a plan. He's on one base trying to just elongate the game. But how does he stop this carrier from killing his Overlord Forest, which he can't afford to replenish? And also, he is a one-base Zerg up against a two-base Protoss that is about to have that Observer that we were talking about, which will ruin the day of Silky. He's starting a Spire here, but he's not going to be able to... I mean, he's going to lose so many Overlords to this carrier. I don't even think he's going to be able to produce anything from this Spire, Seth.
No. And the other thing is that even if he can make stuff out of that Spire... unfortunately, Firefly is already making his own Stargate again, so he's going to get prepared for every eventuality here. And again, another Overlord going down. He can just... This is like the slowest chase.
Yeah. This is the most compelling StarCraft I could ever imagine. What? Oh, we accidentally recalled one of the interceptors that returns to home base.
Cute. Well, this Lurker's getting a lot of work done there. He's denied mining for a little while and actually started to kill a lot of probes that are popping out of there. It looks like a DT might finally start to deal with that, but a lot of mining denial here from Silky. Really nicely done.
Well, observers are finally out, and that means that he can actually chase down and kill these Lurkers. Keep in mind that Lurkers cannot be replenished, as there isn't really any Lurker tech anymore. As far as tech's concerned, Silky has got a Spire, and I think a spawning pool. Well, I mean, obviously spawning pool. I think he's got a Spire and a Roach Warren, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And Firefly is kind of dealing with this Lurker problem by just going around it once again, deciding, all right, I'm just going to build a base somewhere else till I have the equipment that I need to deal with this. This poor Lurker does get picked off. Another one bites the dust there. And he should be able to actually come up and save this Nexus now.
I have a question, Zeph. Do 7 meters end this game for Silky?
I mean, it's a stretch.
I feel like it's a stretch as well.
Yeah.
I think we've got to eye of the tiger, will of the fight, rising up to the challenge, use rivals kind of thing happening right now for Silky. But it does seem like the writing's on the wall a little bit. We will see.
Yeah, it's hard to know in this situation. Just how dead you might be or might not be. He's going to come in, get a few probe kills. The carrier's actually going to do a lot of work here to try and defend against those mutas. But the Stalkers take out this extra hatchery, and once again, Silky is stuck on one base. And does Firefly actually have enough if he puts everything together to go and attack?
I haven't actually seen Silky static defense for a bit. Oh, the Lurkers are moving. I mean, if the Lurkers aren't there, absolutely you can kill that base. Lurkers are the only thing keeping Silky alive right now. The Spore Crawlers are what makes it so that the carrier just move through this layer.
Yep. Gonna pick off a queen maybe. Oh, has to blink out of range.
He actually lost the Stalker there, so it was a good trade for Silky.
Yeah.
But Firefly is mining a lot more. He has 3 bases now, even though he lost a lot of probes to that Lurker harassment. It is still a 1-base Zerg against the 3-base Protoss.
Lurkers are so cool, man. And finally, some Corruptors and Mutas out here to deal with that one carrier. He's going to actually engage with the Stalkers and the Archons on the ground as well. And still not quite able to finish off those Lurkers. That must be so frustrating. Good question. I wonder... Yeah, he does have one.
Oh, hello. Hey, little guys. Come on. You're needed on the front lines.
He's going to lose this Nexus.
He shot his own carrier down! Firefly... That is
the ultimate flex.
Yeah. Let's just go with that. Let's say it was a flex. Firefly is just like, I know thousands of people watching me right now. I'm going to kill my own carrier and still win, nerd. Get good. Oh, no. That carrier actually could make a difference between winning and losing this game now. I mean, I still like Firefly's position, don't get me wrong, but he's clearly not happy about it.
No, well, he does have the Stargate, so... you know, if he can pick up some of these Lurkers, that might be a way to go. The problem is getting close enough. if he can keep Silky off any more bases as well, that's another win condition for him, because Silky ultimately just doesn't have the cash flow to keep this up. Whereas, as you mentioned, Firefly has had a few more bases for some time, and he's actually even brave enough to dip in here a little bit with the Stalkers.
Yeah, there's no lurkers. Why not? And he can blink out if the lurkers arrive. So he's just trying to pick off whatever he can. I mean, getting a corruptor here, getting anything here is great, because we're at this weird position where losing a unit is very, very, consequential at this point for either player, especially Silky. And I really love what Firefly is doing here, not only because this means we're going to see every single tech path for the Protoss, but I think he's going to Disruptors here, Zeph. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Colossus isn't terrible either, but I think Disruptors would, more punch.
Absolutely, and that presents big problems for Silky. It's not the easiest to micro lurkers around those. Of course, I'm sure he's going to get way more damage from those lurkers. He's sliding around to this base where a lot of the tech actually lives. So I think Firefly actually needs to come down here and deal with this, or he may lose a little bit too much.
Actually, doesn't have enough energy on that Nexus for the recall, so he loses the robotics facility there. Warps in some Zealots for a ground army, but is losing a lot of his very important tech. This is also where the robotics bay is. Losing the robo, losing the robotics bay is very, very nasty.
Is the observer here? Yeah. So he flushes it out of there, but he's getting hit on two fronts. Silky is actually doing a fantastic job of dragging this out and making it difficult for Firefly to actually finish him off. He's still pretty dead, but he's not out of it completely. There's still room for mistakes from Firefly, and it is possible that he can make something happen here, but it's gonna be this very slow process that we've been seeing with these small hit squads of units that are gonna have to make the difference for him.
And this game has just gotten into uncharted territory right now. DT is going to be able to get a couple of these lurkers. No overseers here with this army. So the DT is being very annoying. Oh, speaking of overseers, good night. Not sure how that happened, but there it is.
Yeah, Silky just popped out another Overlord. I think he's in that space where Overlords are actually a bit of a concern for him again, so he's having to start producing some more of that. And now moving all those drones over to this new base to keep mining, as that one base he took getting a little bit dried up there. And similarly, Firefly is going to take another base. This army is still way bigger than I thought it was for Silky.
Yeah, I mean, look at this composition from the Zerg. It is like the kitchen sink here. He's got a little bit of everything. Mainly Roaches and Ravagers making up that army supply, of course. The Roaches very deadly, and the Lurkers even more so at the back line. There is only one Spore at these hatchery. Like, the lair is super well defended as far as, like, detection goes. And as far as, like, if a Vola Gateway unit goes over there, the lair can hold on for a little while, still incentive because of static defense. But Link Stalkers are still annoying here for Silky to have to deal with, and it's disruptor time, friends. A bit of a whiff on that first Nova.
Yeah, actually killing the Robo Bay from Silky there with the Corruptor spew that he did earlier saved him a lot of pain, because it was longer before those disruptors could actually get produced. And now that they're coming out, though, I feel like this might turn the tide at long last towards Firefly being able to make something happen.
These Overseers consistently dying here is actually really rough for Silky. I mean, not only is his bank tiny, not only is he getting supply blocked, but once again, DTs become a factor. And there it is. The DTs come back, and actually just 2 DTs are enough to keep Silky off his front door. Uh-oh, yep. Stalkers exposed. Goodbye, Stalkers.
Ooh, wow. They evaporated right there. Nice pick up for Silky. And, oh my goodness.
Oh, wow. I mean, both players getting caught out of position here, and oh my god!
Oh, pretty good hits there. The DT's still a factor as well. 3 more Overseers coming in. Man, there was some crazy trades just then. Firefly still not looking too bad. I think he should be fine to keep remaking Nexi. He can make another one. Wouldn't even mind him going for that right now. But yeah, his army's actually starting to come together here a little bit and be something that can actually put the pressure on the Zerg without having to back up so often.
Well, we are seeing Disruptors getting some nice connections there. The Lucky Lurker count has been thinned out a lot. And the Protoss army has found an opening to get into the lair. Keep in mind, this is where all of the tech is for the Zerg, including the Spire. And Nova actually finishes off a few roaches to the south. A disruptor coming in from downtown. More roaches disappearing. And this looks like finally the finishing blow here for Firefly. The air arming of the Zerg quite useless at this point. It did get that Nexus earlier with the caustic spray, which is all well and good. But, oh wow, that disruptor is a little bit of miscontrol there from Firefly, but he just has too many. It's over. Finally, we did it. 31 minutes of StarCraft action. Firefly has found the nuts. He got the victory here.
Yeah. Wow. What a long game. GG. Firefly will take the win there. At long last, that was like an extra 10 minutes of Silky holding on, doing those liquor hit squads. And yeah, made it happen in the end. So well done to Firefly. Man, that's a tiring game number one.
Certainly was. And as we get over the north side of midnight right now, as we're getting later on here for the broadcast, we do know that EU is around the bend. We have potentially 2 more games ahead of us. The bigger map has been played on, and I think Eternal Empire was also vetoed. So the next couple maps are going to be a little bit shorter. Ice and Chrome and Eternal Empire usually do lead to longer games. This one's the first time we saw Silky go up in a tier 3 and actually play like the super ultra late game Zerg, but it wasn't just your regular, it wasn't your dad's late game PvZ. It was a wild one. This one was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth, great pushes from both sides. I think the lurkers just gave Firefly so much trouble, and I feel like this is actually a big strength of Silky, excuse me. It's that time of night. Forgive me, folks.
It's okay. We're all Risky fans, so you sleep in my thoughts every now and then as well. It's okay.
And yeah, these sort of attacks where he just sieges up on the Nexus really made a difference. And this is where the game changed a lot, because both of them traded huge blows to each other, and it got reduced to these sort of smaller skirmishes around the map until one of them could get enough forces to really make a difference.
Big accidental blunder of Firefly to pick off that carrier as well, which is about to happen just now. That carrier is, as much as I like meme on the carrier, I say like it's not a very useful unit, and I stand by that. But that one particular occasion, that one particular carrier was actually extremely useful for Silky. That's why the Corruptors were made in the first place. You force out Corruptors, that's not ground units, that's not lurkers, which were like the more deadly actual fighting force there for Silky. Even the carrier is something that absolutely has to be respected. It is a big high hit point air unit that shoots down and shoots up. So you have to, it's a little bit all rounded. Now, before we're getting into game number 2, we're going to take a short break. Guys, when we see you, it is going to be game 2 between Silky and Firefly. Don't go away.
So right, so wrong. Bad moves in the heat, tearing up the scene. I'm disco dynamite. Bad moves in the heat, DJ drop the beat. Come on now. Roll with the crazy dance like 1980. Roll with me, baby. You ain't gonna save me. Hit the floor. I'm disco dynamite. Bad moves in the heat. DJ drop the beat. Roll with the crazy dance like 1980. Roll with me, baby. You ain't gonna save me. Hit the floor. leaving, reading this on my phone. I ain't got nothing left to say. I hear you getting angry when I'm out the door. What can I do to change your
G'day, StarCraft fans. Welcome back to the Chinese event here for DreamHack Summer. I am Maynard. With me is Zeph, and we are potentially going into our last map, but definitely in the middle of our last series here, with our boy Firefly being on match point against Zeph's boy Silky. It is still one caster favorite against the other caster favorite. That's how it's going down here for the last series.
Oh.
It's an actual beef. We're actually fighting right now. So
we're super mad.
yeah, we are super mad, as you guys can probably tell. So yeah, a pretty amazing game one in many ways. A lot of people say that's a bad game of StarCraft, but you can certainly not argue that it was not entertaining. That was some fun StarCraft. Yeah,
It was very
objectively
fun.
incorrect.
Yeah. Silky looked pretty good there. I thought that was a really great look for him. We've seen pretty short games from him, but he showed that he can go for the long haul as well and up into that tier 3 tech. And in fact, that was the first time we've seen tier 3 tech on both sides so far in the Chinese region. There hasn't been a whole lot of long matches so far. So great to see it come out here on our final series for the night. And I'm very keen for game 2.
Me too. It's been all about that mid game, man. All about that tier 2. But let's get into it. We are on Submarine, guys. In the bottom right here, in the red, it was his map pick. This is Silky.
After a great win on map number 1, but a long one as well, this is Firefly.
How's that? I've already won $1,000 off of chat. How much more can you win by betting if there's going to be a Roach Warren or not? Is this a Roach Rush?
That can't be good odds.
Mate, which Zerg? What Zerg? Pick Submarine. All right, they picked it.
A madman, and one that's forced to take his third is his natural as well. Yeah, I like that he picked it. I honestly do, and because it's like a curveball. You're like, what? Seriously, bro? Okay, like whatever you want to do. I do worry that it makes him a little bit predictable, but I guess also you could play into that, right? They're like, oh, surely he's going to roach rush me, so I just need to play very conservatively kind of thing. But yeah, I don't pretend to be inside the mind of Silky here, so let's see what he's got.
Super quick third base is what he's got right now. That was like a 147, 48 third base. So the Korean third is what I like to call it. So it's very, very early. But that doesn't mean that he's even though he's getting a lot of hatcheries here, it doesn't specifically mean that he's going to play a macro game. There's a lot of 3-base all-ins, 3 hatchery all-ins, not really 3 bases, but 3 hatchery all-ins. But we will see. He's getting his first cluster of lings out so far. So far, it looks normal from Silky. It's maybe a few more lings than you would necessarily need at this point, but maybe taking the adept threat super serious.
Yeah. I think the key thing here for Firefly will be to keep tabs on the drone saturation on the 3 bases. If you see him stop, that's cause for concern because, could mean a big attack coming. So he's going to head across here straight away with a bunch of lings and just have a look. And in fact, he's continuing.
Yes. It is just lings from Silky. He's actually pulled out of gas. This is very similar to the Ice and Chrome game, actually, where he's just like, hold that C button.
That's true, actually.
You.
I forgot that that's how that game started. No. Feels like a lifetime ago.
This is also very similar to the start, where the Adept's not quite in position in the wall in. A handful of lings get in, but not like a super consequential amount, but enough where he'll have to probe micro while holding that front. But I think he actually holds maybe potentially a little bit easier this time. Unfortunately, the Adept on the wrong side of the wall in here. That's the Zerg side. That's not where you want to be, but the Shade's back.
There's not really a right side at the moment when the lings are already in the base. Uh-oh. Oh, no, he's coming through here.
Oh, he's in.
He actually can't block it off.
Nope. Not anymore.
Well.
Oh, man. Shield battery's out here, but 10 probes have died, and it looks like it's just going to be a quick game there from Silky, tying it up 1 apiece.
Man, Silky, my boy, making it happen right here. I can't believe we're sitting there like thinking about roach warrants. It's just straight up Ling from
Apparently
the
that was
get-go.
too high,
Beautiful.
tech, Zeph. The roach warren was just, that's not a tier 1, it's a tier 1.5. What am I talking about? It was just the Zergling was all you needed there. That was unfortunately, it was one of those things where it's something that honestly, if you're a Zerg that has trouble against Protoss and you're like, getting better at the game, this is the build to steal. Because this is such a gut check. If your Protoss opponent is not good enough for early game, like, if they can't wall in, they're not good at, adept shading or, probe micro, that sort of thing. You can get so many free wins with something like this because there's not a whole lot of micro involved for Silky. I'm just going to say that right now. This is just Lings on the A move. Lings on the A move. You get them in the main base, let them do their thing in the probes. You don't need to worry about them anymore. It's the onus is on the Protoss to micro the defense there. But of course, with good micro, a Protoss can actually just really punish you for going ham on those Lings. That's yeah. It's something that's I think was more like a Firefly loss rather than a Silky win, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense, because if we think back to the last game, then it was a similar opener. Firefly knew from the get-go, okay, he's gonna have speed pretty early here. I need to be prepared for that, and he dealt with it okay. Like, some Lings did slip in, but it wasn't a disaster, and that's the difference, really. Like, it can become a disaster very, very quickly, especially if he continues to commit into that Ling production. So I think that's something that the third hatchery kind of fools you into forgetting about too, because you get, oh yeah, 3 hatch, it's fine, maybe just a few Lings, not a big deal, I got time, and then next minute you have no probes. So yeah, love it from Silky. Awesome, 1-1. And that means we have 1 map left for the ultimate decider here to see who advances out of this group in second place.
That's right, 1 map in either direction here. And it always feels like a little bit of extra magic when it's the ace match. You just don't know. It's just, you don't have any more maps than this. Both players are stuck on the single life. It's for absolutely everything, for all the marbles right now. One player will win a little bit of cash but get excused from the tournament. The other one will go to the playoffs, where they will try and get not only the big money and the big points in the EPT circuit, but also potentially a seat in the season finals and later in the month. I'm so excited, Zeph. Let's get into game number 3. It's going to be on one of the medium-sized maps here. Death Aura in the top left here. Firefly.
And in the bottom right, a man of many Lings. This is Silky.
Yeah. So yeah, game 1 and 2 starting very similarly, but ending very differently.
Yeah. Firefly loves sticking to this very early probe scout so you can block that natural. And I like it. I don't see why you shouldn't do it. It just opens up another option for you with your tech choices here. And it makes the Zerg have to have a bit of a think about what's coming next. Keep their scouting up to scratch to make sure they don't get caught out. But yeah, I don't know. On Death Aura, would you open Stargate or would you go for the Adept?
I actually like the Adept build in this map a bit more, especially if you get the block off of the natural with the probe successfully. I like, not necessarily the depth thing, but definitely going for like Twilight Robo. You could go for, DT Archon, that sort of thing.
Yeah, true,
I like
true. Oh. That could be a good way to go. 'Cause Firefly, I think he actually can do some wacky builds. I saw him do like a disrupted drop one time into the Stargate.
In PvC.
Yeah, it was kind of out there, which is why I think early on I was saying, Firefly, I feel like he's pretty cheeky. He's actually played very standard, but I think that maybe colored my view of him, because who's doing disrupted drops as the opening move here in PvZ, really? Like, it's not necessarily a thing. It's all about adepts, Stargaze, DT drops, that kind of thing. So it can be a nice way to switch it up. But I think here in the third game and the last game to determine whether or not you make out of this group, probably doing something wacky may not be the best thing to go for. Your standard play might be a bit more reliable.
All right, well, we have the second Adept on the way here, which means we go into Stargate. Usually Adept printer means Stalker next, but you know, it's a Stargate with the Warp Gate not really being delayed for it, which is, you know, a little bit different. Zerg doesn't have a ton of information here, but the Overlord in the main base is seeing a lack of structures.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll be up there eventually with some lings trying to poke into that natural or see if he can find a gap. But for the moment, he's just using the Overlord to cruise around and try and see what the tech choice actually is going to be. And that speed is finishing shortly. So if he was going to make some lings, wouldn't be too far off now, I think. But for the moment, he's pretty content. Yeah, here we go. He's thinking
multiple
about
Adepts
it.
here should be okay. I mean, it's 2 Adepts, or 3 Adepts actually firing.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Nicely done. I didn't actually realize that he'd made that many lings already, but not to worry for Firefly. He handles that very nicely, and the Oracle is on its way to do some damage. Silky, once again, though, pretty well prepared for this. He's been making spores quite diligently.
Yep, going for that spore timing. I mean, as a Zerg, you really should get the spores at like 3.5 minutes anyway, just in case it's Oracle or DT. Either of those things are kind of counted or not counted, but, you know, part one of dealing with them is making the spores. The Oracle getting a little bit of damage, but only just the one drone so far.
And I think that's one thing that Silky's done well, even against Maxed, who sometimes proxies his Stargates, and I think he did both games that we watched. He actually got the spores earlier, blindly, even not having necessarily scouted the structure to make sure that he doesn't take any unnecessary damage from there. And again, on the ball here, only gets 1 drone and a queen support in there, but these Adepts could do some damage.
They certainly can. 3 of them are exposed somewhat, but they stutter step into the mineral lines where they can trade a little bit more cost effectively against these lings, but it's just so many lings. That Silky is indeed going to clean up Firefly's Adept attack. Stays forward on the left side. Going to catch 4 lings there, but no drones. And I got to say, Silky's defense, well, he doesn't have a ton of drones at the moment, has been not bad. He's got a lot of lings already out. May as well at this point go across the map with him and see if he can slow down the third base a bit more, because at the moment, really needs to look at that drone count.
Yeah, needs to start pumping up the jams there. And going into the lair already as well. These stasis traps are going to keep being a bit of a bother, but he's doing pretty well there. The lings try to get a good surround here on the Adepts. They do squeeze through that little hallway there between the Nexus and the pylon. So nicely set up by Firefly there to hold on to that. And he's just transitioning into more standard looking 3-base play. Oracle here tries to get a little bit more done. I feel like there's just infinity of those stasises going down.
Yeah. I like the continued attempts at stasis wards. I feel like when you go for stasis ward harassment, it like you do it once or twice, and then you're like, all right, that's enough. Like, that was cool, nice to try, but it's not going to get anything done. But it's constant here from Firefly.
Yeah, again, the little bits of lost mining time do add up. It's not game ending by any means, but he's had to pull off that mineral line, 4 or 5 times at this point. And he's also sitting on 55 drones here, a whole bunch of overlords coming in, and he's making lings and roaches.
It's a lot of Adepts coming through here. The Adepts don't have resonating glaives, though, so they're not as strong as they should be. It's a lot of lings. Queen's picking off one of the oracles. I don't know if this attack's a good idea from Firefly. Ravages in the back line as well, taking a pretty good trade here.
Wow, he actually saved that other Oracle. The Shades do pop up here just to be a bit of a threat, but Silky's got a lot left over from that, and he may well decide to continue. He's got 28 more lings coming along here, more Ravages being morphed, Eve getting an Overseer to bring along as well. And there's not that much here for Firefly.
Yeah, big old attack here from Silky. He's got a low drone count. You know, 55 is not bad, but when you're up against 61 workers per Protoss, 7 minutes in the game, it's not a healthy economy. It's because he's been putting all of his lava and money into units. Oh, coming in from 2 angles here. The force field's not good enough. The Lings are in, and the Ravagers are biling down the force fields that do connect anyway. Silky with the full surround of Zerglings. Oh my god, he made a Protoss donut and just biles the center, getting himself a juicy victory there, and that map was more important than any of the